Hello everybody, welcome to my first ever actual YouTube video other than my intro, and it has been a minute since my intro, but that's fine. As I'm sure you've seen from the thumbnail of today's video, we are going to be DIYing one of these gothic lamps that I've been seeing all over, and I knew I had to make one, so I'm gonna show you how. We're going to start this DIY with a lamp that I thrifted for $2. And I'm going to start by removing all of the original fabric, starting with the little ribbon-like pieces that were connecting the fabric to the frame. After that, I started ripping off the beaded trim of the original lamp. I was able to just pry it off with my hands for the most part, but I did occasionally use the seam ripper when it was a little bit more stuck. I started getting off all of the old fabric by cutting a rip in it and then going around layer by layer, cutting off all of the fabric. As I'm sure you've already noticed, we'll be getting a lot of a little extra. There he is, because he did not want to leave me and my lamp alone today. One of my cat's kittens that we have since sold because we cannot keep a whole litter of kittens. As you can see right there, the metal is broken in a couple spots, but I will be showing you how I fixed that later in the video. I finished cleaning off the rest of the lamp by just ripping off whatever fabric was left, and I did try scrubbing off some of the residue, but it didn't really do anything, so I just ended up moving straight into the fabric. The main fabric that I'm using is a skirt that I thrifted that I also used as a cushion cover for the table that it is going on to, which you saw at the beginning of the video. I started measuring the base of each panel and then added about an inch because the curve is going to make it a little bit bigger and a little bit of seam allowance. I also measured about how tall each panel was going to be, and then just cut out a rough rectangle. I will note, if you're using a pattern fabric like I am, you should probably center it before cutting it out because I didn't do that. It still turned out okay, but if you're OCD, then definitely line it up. Here she is, all lined up, first panel. I pretty much did that exact same thing 3 more times. I only needed 3, but I wanted to give myself an extra one in case one of them got lost or damaged. After I was done with that fabric, I took out this old tank top and realized the lace was also blue.
It was a mystery to be sure, but I didn't have too much time to think about it because I was doing something else at the time. It wasn't all good news though, because while following people, I came across an account that had even more
Tacky.
followers than the person who I thought had the most followers. This dude ignorant.
Tacky or not, I cut out the lace anyway. Speaking of lace, my next fabric is a skirt that I thrifted for
daily routine.
Frickin'
And honestly, it's also
$5.
if you want to pair clothes on the And right now, you can grab them for 15%
and
off.
cut up
Raycon's
the lace
bone
off of
conduction
it.
headphones use off-ear audio, and they actually send sound through vibrations in your bones.
For my next panels, I am layering both the tank top and the lace. For some reason, I kind of ditched measuring out the pieces and just kind of guesstimating. I also made sure to pin the lace and the tank top together so that they didn't separate. I only ended up doing 2 panels of the tank top and lace, and then for my very last panel, I literally used an old t-shirt. I would recommend using a thicker material because you could see the outline of the light bulb through the fabric. That might not make sense now, but you'll see later. Now to get into the actual sewing part of this project, I cut some strips of just regular white cotton and wrapped it and sewed it around the metal armature. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't really know why I was doing this. I just saw other people doing it, but now I realized it made it so much easier to sew on the panels. I started off the ribbon by pinching it as hard as I could around the wire and sewing as tightly as I could, and then wrapped the thread around the wire a little bit, and then wrapped the ribbon around the wire. Here is where I had to fix the armature, and pretty much I just squished it together and sewed around it very tightly. I also wrapped the ribbon around where it was disconnected a couple times, just to make it a little bit less noticeable. I did the top pretty much the same as I did the bottom, but when the armature started to split, I would wrap it around the top and then go down and sew it into the bottom. The best way I found to wrap it was to kind of wrap it around really tightly and then pull it. That might come as instinct to some, but that's just kind of what I found worked the best for me. Here is also where I fixed it again. I just kind of pulled it like I do on the very end, and then I sewed it to the bottom. I made sure to pull it really tightly. And then after that, I wrapped the ribbon around each side a couple times to make sure that it was extra secure. And then by the end of it, you couldn't even tell it was broken. I also made sure to sew it in place. And not only that, I did end up wrapping the thread around the ribbon a couple times just to make sure that it was ultra tight. After I was done with the ribbon, I pinned where I wanted my panels to be and in what pattern I was thinking. With those blue panels, I ended up sewing them wrong sides out because from my angle, I could literally not see the difference. From the camera, you can very obviously see which is the right and the wrong side, but from where I was sitting, I could not see. Here is the final design I was looking for. Then after pinning it out, it was time for the hard part. Hand sewing all 6 of these panels literally took me like 3 hours and 45 minutes. Like what you're seeing now is in 45 times speed. And by the end of this, I was so done with hand sewing. It's crazy. While I was sewing, I didn't really care too much about how good the seams looked because I'm going to be covering up with ribbon anyway. And right here is where it kind of starts to finally come together and finally look as good as she deserves. The footage of me with the ribbon and the beading has since been lost, but I'll just tell you what I did. I first started with pinning down the ribbon with the corsetting details I wanted, and then cutting it out and hot gluing it because I didn't want to sew anymore. And I did the same thing on the sides of each panel. As far as the beading, I used some beads that I bought at Hobby Lobby for the most part, but I did end up reusing some of the beads from the original trim, and I just replaced the yellow beads with some blue beads that I stole from my mom. Since I ran out of the original ribbon I was using for the trim, I used some lace that I had laying around for the top and the bottom trim. So, after hours and hours and multiple weeks of recording, because I did take a couple gaps from her, I'm not gonna lie, here is the finished result. She turned out super gorgeous. She did get a little bit warped because she had a little bit of a confrontation with the floor. They kind of got mad at each other, but she turned out okay. I did have to pinch and sew her back together, but it was fine. Overall, it was about $30 because I thrifted the original lampshade and I just used fabrics that I already had, just laying around, and I got the beads from Michael's. And if you know anything about crafting, that is the most expensive craft store on the planet. I don't know what business they have being that expensive, but they are. No shade. And then finally, here she is with her matching chair. And here's her with the lights on. So, with all of that being said, I hope that you had fun and are feeling creative and inspired to make your own. Thank you so much for joining me on today's adventure, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!